Thank you, Davy, and thanks to everyone for attending this workshop. My name is Jérôme Leonard, and I'm there with Nabil Adouani. We are both co-founders of the Hive project and also both co-founders of Strangely, a company that provides professional support and services for the Hive and Cortex. As an introduction, let me remind what are these applications. The Hive is a security incident response platform. This is the main application an analyst will use on a daily basis to organize, structure, and archive incidents. The application allows to gather alerts from many sources and also to implement custom incident response processes. And to run forensics analysis and run, let's say, active responses, the Hive relies on Cortex. Cortex is a standalone application. This is an analysis and response engine that manage programs called analyzers and responders. With analyzers, you can gather information and intelligence on observables. And with responders, you can run active actions on your network or third-party services. On a typical SOC environment, the Hive gathers alerts from email server, SIEM, issue tracking systems, CTI providers, or maybe other interesting sources with the help of programs called feeders. These programs use the API of the Hive to create alerts or cases. To run analyzers on responders, the Hive can rely on one or can connect on one or several instances of Cortex. You can, for example, imagine an internal instance dedicated to internal usage, like issue tracking systems or CMDB. And imagine an external instance dedicated to queries to internet services, or queries to programs that sit in restricted areas like malware sandboxes. To share IOCs with the communities, the Hive is strongly integrated with MISP and can connect to one or several instances of MISP. For the purpose of this workshop, we will see how to use programs and features from the Hive and Cortex to speed up the investigation during a basic incident response timeline. So we will see how to create a feeder to generate alerts in the Hive with useful data. Then how to implement a custom incident response process with the case template in the Hive. And then we will see how to use analyzers and responders during different steps of the incident response process. To illustrate all of this, we will use a scenario and we will investigate a malspam report. All started when a user received a suspicious message, and to alert about this suspicious message, he used a button on his mail client to report it to a SOC team with comments. And starting from there, an alert is created automatically in the Hive with all interesting information. So now let's see how to create a feeder. So before starting, let me describe what is a feeder. A feeder is a program that gathers information from an external service like mail server, a CTI provider, a SIEM, or many other services. Then the program processes the data and format it for the Hive before importing it as a case or alert. To help this program to use the API of the Hive, we created a Python client library named TheHive4p. So the first step is to gather a suspicious message. So the program connects to a mailbox and read mails with email attachment. Finding this type of attachment is an indicator that this is a forwarded message. Then the program gathers useful information from the raw message. So there we will see that the program collects the subject of the suspicious message, the sender email address, and also the body of the suspicious message. Then, with the help of the library, the program creates a list of observables, first by adding collected data like the sender email address or the mail subject. And the programs also adds the raw message as observable, and also all attachments found in this raw message. So now the program creates, prepare the alert with again with the help of the library. And this alert contains the observable just created before, but also useful information like a title, different tags, a description. So there the description will be the message attached by the user. And also some different custom fields and different other information. So once alert is created, it can be sent and created into the Hive. So by running the right function. So let's see how it works in the application. So let me share my screen. So this is the main page of the application. This is a list of opened cases, and in the alert view there you can see the list of new alerts. So what we will do there is to create a new alert from a message sent by a user. So in my mailbox there, I have a mail sent from a user named John to the team CSIRT. And the user sent us an email, a suspicious message he received in his mailbox. So we will use a feeder to gather this message and import it in the Hive. So this is the main program of the feeder. So you can see there that we are using the Python client library, the Hive4p. And there, the program starts by connecting to the mailbox and look for messages that contain email attachment there. And when found, this email attachment is opened and interesting data is extracted from this message. So that, like I said, the program extracts the subject of the message, the sender email address, and the body, and creates new observables. And there you can see that the programs also create new observables from the raw message itself, and also attachments from in this message. And finally, the program creates the alert and connect to the Hive and create an alert in the Hive. So I will run this program and create the alert in the Hive. the program connects to my mailbox and gathers the message and creates the alert. So there now, in the Hive, you can see that the alert is created. And if we look into this alert, sorry, we can see the message of the user: hello, please find attached suspicious email I received. Also additional fields, who reported the message, and there you can see all observables added to these alerts. So we can see that some of them are already known from the platform. And also we have indications regarding similar cases in the Hive that contains one or several observables found in these alerts. So this can be useful there if, for example, you receive similar alerts and want to merge these alerts in an existing case, for example. So you can, if you want, you can merge this alert in a case. And from there, I can create from there, I can create a case from scratch. So I can import this alert as a case and start investigating. And or I can create a case template to manage this type of incident. So this is what we will see now. So, for the purpose of this this part of the workshop, let me introduce the organization I defined. So, to manage my incidents, I defined two organizations. One organization named SOC, in charge of reviewing and confirming that something malicious or fraudulent is happening in alerts. And if something bad is found, the team escalates the case to another team named CSIRT. And the second organization, named CSIRT, is in charge of handling the incident, in charge of doing deeper analysis when cases need more expertise, and also in charge of all forensics analysis and incident response actions. So this is my process. First, alerts come in the Hive. The SOC team will have to acknowledge the user. The alert has been received and is the SOC team is working on this alert. And then the SOC team will have to do quick analysis to confirm there is something malicious. If not, the team will have to reply to confirm the mail is safe to the user and close the case. And if not, the SOC team will have to escalate the case to the second team, the CSIRT team, which will be in charge of doing deeper analysis and gather more information or more context information. This team will also be in charge of identifying threat propagation and maybe do more investigations, do some containment actions, and finally do some kind of enrichment or sharing IOCs with communities before closing the case. So this is a process we will implement in the Hive. So let me show my screen again. So to implement this process in the Hive, I can create a case template. So For the purpose of the workshop, I already create this template. So you can see there that the template contains basic information like a name, some metadata regarding severity, TIP and PAP, and also tags. So all those information can be updated during the investigation. And there in the task list, you can find all the actions I define in my process. So the first one is the communication one for the SOC team. So the SOC team will have to reply and acknowledge the user. And in the description of this task, I added all the information, all interesting information for the analyst to perform the action. So there you can see that the analyst will have to perform this action by sending a message from with his mail client, his mail application. So with this template, or he will also be able to run a responder, which will do this action for him. So when you create some tasks, you can add all this information in the description field. And the same thing goes for all others actions, all other tasks defined in my process. So there you can see that the analysis task for the SOC team. So same there. I added all interesting information, all useful information for the analyst to perform this action. So there we have to run some analyzers and also maybe extract some information. And if not enough, we will have to use some maybe sandbox analysis or third-party services like VirusTotal, for example. And the same goes for all the tasks defined in the process for the SOC team and then also for the CSIRT team. Okay, so I also added in this case template some useful information analysts will have to complete before closing the case. So now let's see how this is working with alerts. So if we go to the alerts just created, sorry. Now I can import my alerts with the right case template, and you will see that this alert will be promoted as a case. So this is a case created from the alert. You can find there all the information and metadata from the case template, and all the tasks has been automatically created. So now, starting from now, the analyst can handle this case and start working on it. And they're all observables. The four observables have been added in the case. Okay, so for the rest of the workshop, we will see the same case fully completed before the workshop to show you all the information added in the case. So now let's see how to use analyzers to enrich the case and gather useful information from observables. So an analyzer is basically a program that processes one observable and deliver reports. For example, you can imagine an analyzer that is querying VirusTotal to get a report from a hash. As an input, analyzers take observable metadata and configuration, and as output, analyzers deliver a summary report, a long report, and maybe sometimes some observables, some extracted observables from the report. So to configure analyzers, you have to use Cortex. So in Cortex, you can enable desired analyzers and customize the configuration if needed. So you can configure the TLP and PAP checks or define rate limiting. This can be useful if you have a few licenses for a service, for example. And you have to, depending on analyzers, you have to fill sometimes API keys, username, and so on. So let me show you. So this is a main view of Cortex where you can find all jobs run in the application. So if you want to configure analyzers, there in this view you can find all available analyzers on the platform, and you can easily find the one you want to enable or disable. So to enable one, just click enable, and you can configure it this way. So you have some analyzers that do not require any configuration or API key. So like EML parser, that is just an analyzer that is running a program to parse EML files. And you can find other analyzers like domain tools that query the API of the third-party service, the domain tool service, where you have to fill a username or API key, maybe other configuration items. And there you can also, depending on your internal process, define if you want to check TLP and PAP before running the analyzer. So this is how you can configure analyzers. And in the Hive, so I have, if you remind, I have in the case I have a task. I have tasks regarding analysis. So for, like I said, for the rest of the case, I will use a fully completed case. So this is the same. This is a case from the same alert, but I already fill all the tasks there, and the case is also ready to be closed. So if you remind, the SOC team has a task that that analyst has to perform. So analyst has to analyze, attach the suspicious message, and also the attachment to learn if something malicious is happening or not. So to perform this task, the analyst has to go to observables, find the raw message, and in this part, in the detailed view of the observable of the raw message, the analyst has access to several analyzers there, and can run this analyzer on this file. So before the workshop, I run this analyzer, EML parser, and get a report. So this report let me have a look inside the suspicious message, and gather information from all interesting headers, the attachments found in this message, and I also have access to the raw headers and the body of the message. And something interesting there is that I can also extract new observables from the report. So by clicking on Show Observables, and if I want, if some information is interesting for me, I can check this some of these observables extracted from the report and decide to import them or not in my collections of observables in the case. So this can be very useful to pivot on the observables and do some more analysis and gather more information. Okay, so this is how to use analyzers. So for example, in the list, I also have a document attached to the message on which I can use several analyzers there. So we have there one analyzer that is doing static analysis of documents. The analyzer is named FileInfo, but I also have various total analyzers that get reports from hash. And so there I can see that this is something malicious. And I have also one analyzer called ThreadGrid that is connecting to Cisco ThreadGrid services, and that gave me interesting information for the investigation. Okay, so this is really interesting. Yeah. So now let me show you how to use responders to run some active actions on your network or on third-party services to take actions during the investigations. So a responder is basically a program that processes alerts, a case, a task, or a log, or an observable from the Hive. For example, you can imagine one responder that creates a ticket in a ticketing system application from a case or a task. Or, for example, you can also imagine a program that add one observable to a blacklist. As input, responder take the data, so an alert, a case, a task, or a log, or observable, and some metadata. The first output of a responder is an action result. So does a responder run successfully or not? And the second output is some operations. So the responder, upon the actions run, can also run operations back in the Hive. So, for example, you can, when a responder runs successfully, you can add some tags to a case or one observable. For example, you can also add or close a task or a log, but you can also run many more operations in the Hive. So let me show you how to configure it. So still in Cortex, so you have a view for responders. So you can find there all available responders in the platform, and you can enable or disable each of them depending on your needs. So there I created and enabled two responders. The first one is a responder that sends an email to a SecAdmin team to add observable to mail server's blacklist. So this responders sends email, but you can imagine the same type of responder of responders to create tickets for a dedicated team or to add automatically the observables to the blacklist. So it really depends on your organization and on your internal process. So you can see there that I have a lot of configuration items for this responder. First, the from email address will be my username in the Hive, and I have also two fields to I can edit, and these fields are let's say using data from observables. So the subject there and the message will use the input data to fill the template there. So you will see how it works in just a few minutes. So this is the same thing for the second responder. So I fill the same configuration. And in the Hive, if you remind, I have one task that I have one containment actions there that tells the analyst to block some IP address, some URL, or malicious sender email address to contain, to protect the network. So what the analyst will do there is to go to observables and find added the right observables and run the right action. So there on the URL, for example, this is a URL found in the body of the suspicious message, and what we want there is to avoid user of clicking on this URL. So to add this URL in the blacklist of proxies, the analyst just has to click there and run the right responder. So the responder, this is a responder I just enabled at web proxy blacklist. So I just have to click on it and run it. So I received automatically an alert that the responder started successfully. And if I go to the details of this observable, I can see there that the job has successfully been done, and their tags have been added to the observable. And to ensure that the mail has been sent, there you can see that I received the message sent to the proxy admins mailing list, and this message asks admins to add the right URL in the blacklist. So that's it. But as I said, you can imagine responders, similar responders that connects to your application, to your internal application to feed the blacklist, or to connect to a ticketing system to create a ticket, a dedicated ticket to the dedicated team, and so on. One last word regarding orchestration using the Hive. So the Hive can export all events to a webhook endpoint. So this can be configured in the Hive. And also, as I said before, have an API you can access to execute any actions on it. Cortex works the same way. Cortex has also an API that can be used to execute any actions. So so all of this allows the Hive and Cortex to be used to to orchestrate and automate some workflows. So we know the Hive and Cortex can already be used by existing automation platforms like Node-RED, Shuffle, and N8, and we also know that they are also used in commercial tools. So thank you for attending this this workshop, for your attention, and I would like to thank Davy and RandoriSec for the invitation and for the organization of this workshop. So if you have any questions, feel free. We are ready to reply.
Thank you, Jérôme. We have a first question, but I think Nabil is already answering.
Yeah, yes. The question was, do the two organization SOC and CCUT have different roles and permissions? So as I was writing there, when an analyst shares a case or something else, observable, for example, or let's talk about cases, if the analyst shares a case with another organization, he has the possibility to select the profile of that share. I can share the same case with organization one and giving them the profile analysts, and I can share the same case with a third organization just for read-only, with read-only profile. So these people will not be able to act on the case. They will be able just to see it and see what happens on it, but they cannot edit it, for example. And yes, of course, profiles are not, we have predefined profiles, but you can have your custom defined profiles. So for example, if you want to create a profile for a user that will only be capable of playing with tasks, but not creating observables, for example, then you can create that from the administration sections, a profile that gives only the right access to tasks. And when you share a case with that profile, then the users that receive the share will only be able to play with tasks and not editing, for example, the case or the observables. So we have fine-grained permissions that you can use to define your profiles.
Yeah, I can illustrate this with a demo. I created a demo organization on our platform that we will share with you some credentials after that. And for example, the complete case I just showed you, I can share it with this organization. So there, if you see my screen, I want to share it with the organization named demo and with the profile read-only. Okay, and from there, I do save, and yeah, now this case is is available for any users in the organization named demo with read-only permission. So you can't run anything in this case. You just have access to the content of the case, of all tasks, and all observables on the reports, on the analysis reports.
We have a very interesting question. Is Cortex TheHive used in production in SOC? Can you share another question from Fred again? Can you share real-world examples with SOC size plus business types of few organizations?
Okay. I can get this question. So the first example that we can talk about is the cert where the Hive and Cortex have been started from the beginning. So it's a cert that have multiple teams, and the Hive and Cortex are used by almost 20 persons in there. we can speak about a lot of other examples from either public institutions or commercial industrial companies, banks, etc., insurance. All the, I would say, a lot of verticals, cross geographies. People are using the Hive and Cortex with sizes going from a small team, for example, of 2 people to teams with tens of people. We have also some MSSPs who are using the Hive. Of course, I cannot share the names because it's not, I would say, something we can do, because we are not here to say, yeah, I know that this company is using it, etc. But if you make a small research about people who are asking questions either on GitHub or on the community, etc., you will see, you will have an idea about who are the companies where these people are working. So from there you can know some names. I think that I gave the answer for Fred's question. For GF, yeah, this is a challenging question, but okay, I will provide the answer for it.
Sorry, Nabil.
Yeah.
Can you please read the question?
Yeah, the question was when the Hive 4 will be released. So the Hive 4 is something we are speaking about since a lot of, I would say, probably two years, and we are almost done with it. Our first target was the beginning of this year. We made a first RC candidate. We had a lot of people making contributions as issues, asking questions, adding even more features for the first release. We made 3 release candidates. We want to make the 4th one. We will release it the next week. So the beginning of the next week, probably just after the bank holidays. So so it will be ready for the next week. Okay, there are also 3 other questions. The first one, when sharing to a Mist instance, can you share level? Can the share level be defined? Currently, the default is organization only. Can that be changed to community? Okay, so the way we make, the way we share cases with the Mist instances is that we offload all the sharing definition to the UI in Mist. So from the Hive, you push your event to Mist, and you have to go there and decide what are the sharing rules, what are the sharing groups, etc. Because we don't have a bridge between how does the Mist define the sharing capabilities and how the Hive make that. So there is a discontinuity between the sharing procedures. So we push the event to Mist, and we let the users define the sharing levels in Mist. The second question, can the observables be grouped? Example, MD5, SHA-1 entry grouped for a single file. So this is something that can be added in the Hive after the Hive 4 because of the change we have introduced in the data model. Before, in the Hive 3, our the database was flat, so there is no relations between observable, etc. So with the new graphical data model, we can think of having relations between observables, relations of multiple types. Could be, for example, this observable is the origin of this one. Imagine we have a URL observable. Then from the URL we can extract the domain, and we can make a link between that URL and that domain. Or we can group the hashes for a file, or the file name with the file, etc. So this can be introduced in the future in the Hive because of the capabilities that the new data model provides. The third question, will there be any effort in the future to export tags in Hive to Mist? I don't really get the question. Do you mean to export tags in Hive to MISP. I think that this already working. When we share a MISP, when we share a case or an observable from the Hive to MISP, then we check if the tags already exist. Otherwise, we create custom tags. I think it should be work that way. Or can you explain the question if possible? If my answer is not really does not answer the question. GH is typing, so I think that he tried to answer what I'm asking for. Okay. How easy to set up and manage the Hive for a small organization? I would say it's like any other software, so it depends on the capabilities of the people who will install that. For us, it's probably a few hours. Probably for other people, it could be, I don't know, probably 2 days, but it's just the Hive and Cortex are just we provide packages for Debian or for Red Hat, or we have also Docker images. So it's just about installing the database and installing the Hive service and configuring them, and it should not take a lot of time. Okay, so JH said, when an observable is tagged, the tag is not exported to MISP. Is this related to the Hive 3 or your tests on the Hive 4? The Hive 3, okay. I can check. I expect that the tags are exported to MISP, but we can check this. Okay, we will check it. Another question. Is there reporting tools, for instance, stats in a dashboard top 10 about observables IOCs? So yes, in the Hive we have a dashboard section where you can create private or shared dashboards, and within the dashboards we have I would say a UI editor that allows you to put in your dashboard widgets going from pie charts to histograms to other types of widgets that are configurable. You can select the data on which the queries can be done, the aggregator fields, some sorting, some top 10 or top 20 if you want, and yes, we have dashboard capabilities in the Hive. You're welcome.
Okay. Do we have any other question?
I want just to have to add something about the orchestration. As Jérôme said earlier, the Hive is really centered on the job of analysts. It's not centered on orchestration. We have a lot of automation stuff, like calling the external services through responders and analyzers, etc. But we provide the necessary things that a workflow editor needs. Like, for example, all the APIs and all the actions of the Hive are exposed through APIs. And if you want to create something or update something or delete it or promote an alert to a case, etc., or you can just use APIs. And when we talk about APIs and workflow building tools, those tools always rely on two things: calling APIs and listening to events coming from a source. And the Hive and Cortex today can be sources of events, because when you define a webhook in the Hive, every event that happens, any event that happens in the Hive is sent to that webhook. And the same event can be sent to multiple webhooks. So we can imagine workflows defined in specialized tools that exposes webhooks that the Hive can call. And once the webhooks are called, the workflows are started. And we are putting a lot of focus on giving all the capabilities that make it easy to build workflows in several tools. Our focus today is on node automation or N8N. We are building nodes for the Hive and Cortex, and we will do the same thing for Node-RED after that, etc. Proprietary tools are managing that from their sides. So we can imagine, for example, Times.io, who has integrations with the Hive APIs, etc. And there are also a lot of other tools that can do the job.
We have a thank you from Ibrahima. Thank you from Maya.
Thank you, guys.
Another question.
With the responder, we can consider the Hive. I think that the word store means you need to have something that allows you to define your workflows. And workflows can be defined by two ways, either by writing code or using a tool that provides a designer of workflows. So if you combine the Hive with something that creates workflows, then we can talk about a SOAP. Amazing news for node automation. Yeah, we are trying to work with them to provide something related to security, because today they have some nodes for some security tools. But yeah, we can imagine a workflow that listens to case creation, alert creation, from there analyze observables automatically. If an observable is malicious, then promote the case, the alert to a case, and notify Slack or a Mattermost channel, etc.
Do we have any other question?
Thank you for your support, guys.
Okay.
If there are other questions, I think that we are all available on Twitter. So if someone will ask a question, please don't be shy, don't hesitate, just ask and we'll answer.
Okay, so thank you, Jérôme. Thank you, Nabil.
Thank you.
It was very useful for me to learn a few insights of the Hive and Cortex. We'll publish the slides and the video online soon. And see you soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.